Well, good morning, and or as the case may be, whenever you may be viewing this, it may not be one. But I'm John Mark Dempsey, and we're having a second cup of coffee with Ronnie Wilson, who is the Hopkins County Master Gardener, one of the Hopkins County Master Gardeners. How many are there?
About a dozen.
That's
right
quite a
now.
few.
Yes.
So by no means is Ronnie the Master
Right.
but he certainly is one of them. But we're going to talk, among other things, but mainly about container gardening this time.
Yes.
And I've had some experience with container gardening, and the thing I like about it is that you can move the plants around as need be. It gives
Yes.
you more flexibility in that way.
Yes. Depending on your space, your budget, how much time you want to spend with it, you can use containers as small as 4 inches up to
Right.
2-3 foot fancy pottery.
Now, you can spend a lot of money on
You sure can.
containers if you want to, can't you?
Yeah.
Or you can spend almost nothing.
That's
But
right.
if you can move them in and out of the sun.
That's right.
If you've had a lot of rain and you want to get them out, having more rain, you can move them out of the area where the rain is going to be falling. So
There's a lot of plants that you can grow indoors.
Sure.
Just put them in an east window so they get filtered light.
Right. You said, and Ronnie always gives me some excellent notes when he
you.
comes. But you can grow tomatoes in pots,
Yes.
in containers.
5-gallon buckets make great containers if you want to grow tomatoes. You can also grow squash and other things in there. Some people use cattle feed tubs.
Right.
They're red rounds, they're 2 or 3 feet apart.
Right.
But any one of those will work as long as you have drain holes in the bottom.
You know, that was the next thing I was going to bring up, is that, and we used some containers last year, and I was going to use them again this year. I wasn't entirely happy with how that turned out last year, but I looked at the bottom and there's no drain holes.
Yes.
Why do they make containers for the purpose of growing plants without drainage?
Maybe for desert plants, maybe for cactus. I don't know, but
That makes no sense. does it?
after a few waterings, your smaller containers will fill up with water and your plants drown.
Well, I think we had that happen
Yes.
last year. So
That
I went
happens.
with a screwdriver and a hammer and knocked some
There you
holes
go.
into
Yeah.
these pots.
One of the negative things about container gardening is you cannot blame Mother Nature when things go wrong. If your plant doesn't get watered, you can't blame Mother Nature
Right.
that she didn't bring rain, or if they get too much sun. I mean, it's all on the gardener
Right.
when you're in a
Well,
container.
that flexibility is a good thing, but then it does bring some responsibility.
That's
where it
true,
doesn't.
but it's minor, it's real small.
Now, you make the point in your notes, it's important to use potting mix
Yes,
and not potting soil
yes.
in containers.
There
Explain
is-
that.
There is a difference, and you'll find both products at all the garden centers.
Sure.
Potting soil does contain soil, and it says on the bag to be used in ground. So if you have a new area you want to plant flowers in, put some potting soil around the place you're planting your new plants, and that helps that plant get acclimated and spread roots.
In a flower bed.
In a flower bed, outside in the ground. Now, potting mix does not have any soil. It is just compost and vermiculite and, peat moss. It's a growing medium. The drawback with potting mix is that it has no nutrients. So here again, the gardener is responsible for feeding the plants. But potting mix is lighter, fluffier, has better drainage, and I think any plant in a container will do better with potting mix rather than potting soil.
And I bet a lot of people don't even give much thought
Right.
to that. You
right.
see potting mix or potting soil,
Whatever's
what's the difference?
cheapest. Yeah.
Well, which is cheapest?
Cheapest thing is go out in your backyard and dig up a shovel full of dirt. That's probably the worst thing you can do, though.
And that's not recommended.
Right, it's not recommended.
So, as you said, if you're going with container gardening and potting mix, you do need to use fertilizer. I asked you before we turned the cameras on, before we turned the microphones on, what do you think about Miracle-Gro? Because that's easy to use, and I'm not
Yes.
intending to endorse a particular
Right.
product, but it is well advertised, and and people are familiar with it. And you actually think it's
Yeah,
pretty good.
I use it. It's easy, just 1 tablespoon
Oh.
in a gallon of water, and you water it in. The thing with Miracle-Gro is they make many products. So you have to look at the labels and see what that fertilizer has in it. If you have flowering plants, you want a fertilizer with a high middle number. If you have ivies, you just want greenery, you want a high first number. And it's important to know what you are feeding your plants.
So when you say a high middle number for flowering plants, high middle number relative to the numbers on either side, I think.
Yes, there'll be 3 numbers on
Right.
each bag of fertilizer.
Right, good. All right, real quickly, and we're almost out of time, hanging baskets need a lot of attention.
Yes, since they're up in the air, they will dry out quicker. So watch those carefully. And in the hot summer, you may need to water a hanging basket twice a day, once in the morning and one in the afternoon.
I have found that to be true. Just in the last 30 seconds or so, your plant of the month is petunias.
Petunias, yes. They come in many colors, easy to grow. They need full sun. They come red, white, yellow, blue, orange, pink, purple. And if those colors don't suit you, it also comes in multicolor. One tip for petunias is in the middle of the summer, they tend to get leggy. Prune them back, and they will continue to produce flowers all the way to the fall.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to grow
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and hardy.
With potting mix.
Potting mix, right. And they are annual, so they not.
Yes.
But could you maybe bring them in over the winter?
I don't know. It's just they're so cheap and they're so plentiful in the spring.
I got you, understood. So plant of the month, petunias. Well, we're out of time, but lots more to talk about, so we'll have Ronnie back soon.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
Look forward to
All
it.
right. Ronnie Wilson, Master Gardener for Hopkins County. I'm John Mark Dempsey. This is KSST.